Hello, I'm Dennis Pullin. One of my favorite parts about being president and CEO of Virtua Health is getting to know our colleagues and the many ways they are here for good. Each person contributes to healthy communities, and each person has a story to tell. Let's meet one. So Rose, thank you for joining me this great day.
Thank you for having me.
So I understand in a few months you will be celebrating your 25-year anniversary with sort of a combination between Virtua and Lourdes. Tell me about this journey.
I started at Lourdes as a family liaison with the early intervention program and later transitioned into interpreter maybe about 10 to 12 years later. And I've loved the early intervention program actually.
So your primary role is one of an interpreter.
Correct.
It's early intervention, so I would take it that's for our youngest patients, correct?
Correct. It's only for early intervention for our birth to 3-year-olds. It's for families that have children with either experiencing a developmental delay or disability, and we're there to support those families in those areas of need.
Outside of your ability to translate, are there any other benefits of having someone like yourself a part of this care journey?
Absolutely. I think with these families, especially because they don't understand the language, obviously it's a barrier. I think when you're that person that, you're like that middle person for them, and it kind of bridges the gap between the practitioner and the families and kind of makes them feel at ease. I can relate to them.
And I would think it would help the clinician be more comfortable as well, not
Absolutely.
just the patient and family.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like when everybody's in a comfort place and you build a rapport with these families, you're not only just building the rapport with the family and the practitioner, but also kind of helping them kind of connect better as well.
Early intervention program is really for, someone 3 years old or younger,
Yeah.
correct? Have you ever encountered later on in life any of these patients that you took care of when they were that young?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I have one that was one of my first babies. I always call them all my babies. They're excited and they're grateful for everything that we've done as a group together for their family and for their child.
Speaking of being grateful, I know shortly after Virtua and Lourdes came together, your husband had a pretty significant health crisis and he received care at Virtua Voorhees.
The whole entire family experienced a breakout with COVID. It was about 12 of us between 3 households. And he seemed to be doing well for initially for the first couple weeks. And then out of nowhere, he just couldn't breathe. And we was like, we got to go to the hospital. We went over to Virtua Voorhees. They took him immediately and they took such phenomenal care of him there. We're so grateful for that team there because we almost lost him. And it was a really tough journey. That team over there was superb and they treated him so well. And he only speaks highly of that place.
So how's he doing today?
He's doing much better. He still has some little bit of, little effects here and there, but he's pushing along and he's working. He went back to work a couple months later.
Thanks for sharing that and give him my best.
I will.
So I want to switch gears just a little bit. I know a couple years ago, your role was expanded to include being a community health worker. Perhaps share with our audience what that means.
I wanted to be more involved in the community, and this opportunity was presented to me, and I took it because I want to be more involved. But anything that has to do with the community always brings me pleasure, and it's just another way that I can give back.
Talk a little bit about Camden. I know you raised your kids in Camden, and maybe you can share through your lived experiences in Camden what it was like for you raising your kids and living there.
Raising my kids was definitely, it had its challenges like any other family in the city. I always taught my girls that, don't let anything that goes on around you prevent you to doing or moving forward, right? Because I didn't want them to feel like they were constricted to just this.
The environment didn't have to define who they would
Exactly.
become.
And I told them that you got to move it. You got to keep moving. Don't let nothing stop you. And they've done well for themselves, very well for themselves. And they love the city of Camden. They give back to their city as well as I try to do as well as myself. Even though most of us don't live in a city, but we still find ways to get back in some type of shape or form. And it's very important. We are Camdenites forever, no matter where we go.
And you know what? I hear that a lot from people that grew up in Camden, and there's such an affinity to stay connected to the
Oh,
community
yes,
and to give back.
and people are very connected there, and everybody looks out for each other, for their children. There's so much good things coming out of the city. There's a lot going on, and if if you're willing to listen and learn more about the community, you will see that there's so much more out there, and a lot of opportunities for a lot of people out there.
I also understand that you and your husband have taken on sort of a different role in that you provide foster services for kids, particularly kids from other countries that have been separated from their family. That to me is just go beyond being here for good. Talk to me about what it's like to be a foster parent.
It's been an interesting journey. We've serviced about 42 children, I think.
42.
Yeah, we open our doors and
I can imagine that when these kids show up, they're afraid, they're overwhelmed. What do you do to help them to adapt and adjust to this new environment and feel safe?
yeah, they definitely come in, scared, worried, not sure. And it is very hard when they first come in, but we always do our best to welcome them with our open arms. Always have like a nice little gift basket with balloons because what kids doesn't like balloons and toys. But we always try to like make them feel like very important because they are important. And not only do we teach them, but they also teach us a lot of other.
I've heard you say part of the joy that you and your husband receive from fostering these kids is introducing them to new things and new experiences. The first time they've gone to a movie, or to your point of providing them with gifts. And how's that been for you?
That's always anything that's a first time experience with them always makes us so happy. The snow, that's like the biggest thing. They could be out there for hours playing in it. Their first movie experience, they've never been to a movie theaters. We had one little boy that never saw a water fountain, and he was like, "What is that?" When I showed him, he was like, "Wow, that gives you water to drink?" I said, "Yeah, that's a water fountain for you to drink." So a lot of times when they get these first time experiences, just many people take for granted so many of these things that we do on a regular basis, and to just see the joy that these kids get out of just seeing these new experiences or receiving these new experiences, just, when it's time to go, that they don't want to go, I know I did my job right.
Right. Well, but when it is time to go, is that a painful thing for you and your husband? Because you've instantly provided so much love and attention and caring to these kids.
It is hard when it's time for them to go, especially when you get really attached to certain children that just give you so much love back, and it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna let them go. And it becomes really hard.
So if someone is watching this episode and thinks that maybe they could help out in this particular type of way, or maybe someone that has never even considered it,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
To try it. I mean, you don't lose anything with just trying. It's a joy. It's a blessing to be able to give back to children in this way. There's so many children that are in need, not just in children coming in from other countries, but also children here. So if you have a home and you're willing to bring someone into it and give them some of that family love of yours, then I said go and do it.
Well, Rose, I've always believed that Virtua attracts very special people, and you are without question one of those individuals. So thank you for everything that you do and just being here for good for Virtua and our community and these special kids. So I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Here for Good, the Inside Edition. Having conversations with people like Rose is really what makes me proud to be a part of this great organization. Tune in next time for another episode.